So, um, we got a little stuff happening this week. First of all, Amazon is, you see the chart on the left over there, good old Amazon. We got the S&P over here on the right. I guess they're starting to spend some billions, and what I can kind of deduct from it, I guess an AI facility, the little computer buildings that they build cost about 10 billion bucks because they're building two up in Pennsylvania, right up against a nuclear facility, and they're going to be building another one out in, I guess, North Carolina. So they're starting to bump up their really for their Amazon Web Services AI stuff. But they're really starting to bump up everything on that. And so they're starting to invest. It's not just stroking a check, I don't think. I think it's just, paying them out as things get built and they need more stuff. Probably it'll take them a year or two to start paying all that out. But anyway, but the good thing is they are building and they going to have people to do it. So there's people employed, so which is really, really cool. But yeah, I guess everybody's kind of stepping up their AIs, everything right now, and they're trying to get as close to, nuclear power plants or power they can just because they suck so much power. So, but there's that one. Another thing that's kind of hot on the grill right now is we're in talks with Iran, and at the international whatever it is agency. They're talking over in Europe right now, but pretty much Tehran told the U.S. We're trying to keep them from enriching uranium. They pretty much just said no, and they want to disarm Israel, of course, and of course Trump laughed. But they're still, cordially in talks. So they're going to come back with their own deal to the U.S. and what they're going to propose. And apparently, this coming Sunday, they're going to get back together again. They had a meeting yesterday, and so on Sunday, I guess they get back together and kind of see what happens with that. So, and I think everybody's just kind of watching and waiting to kind of see what happens on that one. I know we've been putting sanctions on them and everything like that, and that's why they're at the table. A lot of the places I was even reading, with Vietnam, they've actually come in and is going to, be buying like $20 billion worth of, our soybeans, corn, meats, and all kinds of stuff, which is really pretty cool. So we're starting to get some trade deals going on right now, which is really good. And speaking of meats, uh, um, if you pork is getting a lot more expensive. If you look at actually the, lean hogs and stuff like that, they've gotten back above a dollar. They literally, it wasn't a month and a half ago, they were down around 85, 90 cents, and now we're here sitting at a dollar 10. And I think the big thing on that one, we have a low herd, not only in the beef market, but also in the pork market. But they're kind of worried about the H1N5, or the swine flu virus, and we don't have the problem right now. Don't get me wrong here. But they're worried that come this fall into the winter, it's going to be back, and they're trying to get something going to kind of help their herds out instead of it just killing all the little piglets, and we don't have any more little piglets to make into pigs and all that good stuff. So they're actually getting in front of the ball here, which is nice. But it's also, with that little scare, has driven up the price of pork. And so we are going to have, which has been really one of the cheapest meats, that we have at the grocery store, just because beef is so expensive. And just, I mean, just not the feeder price itself is, over 3.15 a pound right now, and that's just the wholesale price. I mean, that's not getting it, to the slaughterhouse and then getting it processed and everything like that. I mean, your box beef is running $4 and $5 a pound right now. And then you got to get it to the grocery store, and of course, it gets outrageous. So, but yeah, it's just really, really going to be kind of big. And I'm also wondering, with all the tariffs and stuff like that, speaking of inflation here, we've had some steel tariffs and everything like that. going out to whatever countries that we get steel from and all that stuff, which we can do our own steel here if they just, put their brain to it. But you think about all the cans that are in a grocery store, go down the canned vegetable aisle and fruit aisle and everything like that. Those cans might be getting kind of expensive. Maybe not the contents of them, but definitely the cans. So that's kind of something to keep an eye on as you kind of go through the store a little bit. The metal on those might start kind of going up a little bit. So, not to put any bad news on anybody here. But just kind of beware of that. I mean, I watch markets. I mean, but just kind of taking what you see in the market and kind of putting it to real life. What does this affect? What does that affect? And really this past weekend is when I thought about the canned food. I was just going through the grocery store with my wife, and I was just like, these things are made out of metal. Which is like, so that's going to be maybe going up a little bit. And so, but there is that. Another thing we've got China. There's so many things going on, between every country there is out there. It's just trying to pick and choose right now. China, of course, is a big player in all markets. Of course, they've come back and basically shut everybody off from rare earth minerals for batteries and magnets and all that kind of stuff. And they're a big supplier, even though we have our own supply here in the U.S. We have nothing like they have over there apparently. And so I guess Trump kind of got on the phone with old Xi over there and said, "Hey, we can make a deal. We can be friends." And now they're actually talking about, Trump going over to China and talking to him. No date set on that one. But what he did do was lift the restriction for 6 months for the three U.S. automakers, which is GM, Ford, and Stellantis, which they make Jeep. So he did lift it on them, which is kind of an interesting kind of deal. There's a company called ATI here that kind of benefits from that, and you kind of see them here. They've been really kind of moving up here a little bit. They're down a little bit today. I mean, the market's been kind of doing some weird stuff here. But if this thing can get back above 85, I think it'd be kind of a good buy and let it continue to move on up. I mean, nothing ever goes straight up, but that one's been doing a pretty good job of it, right? But you've got some consolidation in here and kind of a push up. Wouldn't surprise me one bit to get a little bit of a pullback, consolidate again, and then start pushing back up again. And yeah, but I think this is probably going to be probably a good investment on a longer term basis if they can continue to do that. The other thing is with the rare earth, they've been threatening, they've been, cut it off from Europe to get Europe to do a better deal with China as opposed to making deals with the US. And so they've kind of cut them off. So they're using the rare earths around the world to, get it their way or no way. And that's just, kind of how they play their games and everything like that. And think, I mean, eventually, I think we'll come to an agreement somehow, some way with them. Trump's always good at doing stuff like that. And we'll probably end up saying, okay, finally. And of course, we're going to have to give, and they're going to have to give, and we'll both have to take and kind of go off those lines. But more than anything, I think we still have so much in front of us, as far as these trade deals and who says what where. These markets are just kind of going nuts, and so, but they're still trending up. I mean, at least the S&P is back above its year open. And it's up, a little bit. It's up about 1.5% on the year right now. NASDAQ has been strong. It's up almost 3% on the year. But the Dow and the Russell are still weak. In fact, the Russell's down 4% on the year. And the Dow is down about 1% on the year. So they're your laggers, where the NASDAQ and of course the S&P are your stronger ones. So, and you just kind of go down through everything. It's kind of amazing, what's up and what's down. Even if you look at the grains, soybeans are up on the year, but corn and wheat are down on the year, which this time of year wheat should be. We're getting into harvest on wheat. But with all the rains that we've had, and I mean, Dakota and I were talking about, rain here. We've had a ton of rain through, the Central Plains and up in the Corn Belt and everything like that. And usually by now, my great state of Oklahoma, where I'm from, usually has about 23% of their wheat, the winter wheat harvested. They've only got 5% harvested right now. So the rains kept them out of the fields. Um, and so we've kind of seen some lows in the wheat and the corn markets. And which in soybeans is kind of holding up a little bit, but we'll kind of see how all the rains and everything like that kind of happen. And but on the other side of that, over the past couple of years, they've had a lot of droughts out there, so the rain's actually pretty good. They needed the rain, and all the plains need rain. They've had so much bad droughts. I mean, we lost a lot of cattle just because of that. So having the rain, I'm happy for it, even though we can't seem to get things either in the field or out of the field right now. It'll eventually happen. So they'll get a little lull and they can get out there and start harvesting or planting or whichever it may be. So, but everything looks pretty good at this point in time. So. But anyway, but yeah, like I said, there are a lot of things going on, a lot of different trade deals. I mean, Rollins, which is our ag secretary now, she's been, I don't even know if she's been in Washington, D.C. She has been all over the United States trying to figure out what's where and who's what, and, trying to make things work again, put money where money needs to be and kind of help people where they need to be helped and all that good stuff. So, um, and we're only, what, 5 months, not even 5 months right now into this administration. Um, I mean, you're looking at what, February, March, April, May, June. Yeah, four, 4.5 months anyway. And a lot of things have gone on, but there's still a lot of things that need to be done. So, and they keep talking about this big beautiful bill and all this good stuff, which is supposed to help a lot of different agencies. Um, but there's good things about it and bad things about it, and I don't read that stuff. I just read across news places that a lot of people like it, a lot of people don't. So we'll see how they hammer that thing out and see how pretty it is. So, but with that, really, that's kind of where we're at right now. We have a very, very low, news week this week. Even though, when we were kind of looking at it last week, we've got the CPI and the PPI coming out this week. Of course, tomorrow we get CPI, then Thursday we get PPI, and it'll be really interesting to see what that does. Another thing that we get on Thursday is the World Ag Supply report for the world, and we'll get to see what Brazil's doing and stuff like that. They've had a lot of rains down there for their second crop of corn, and it'll be interesting because the second crop is what they use to export. The first crop is what they keep inside the country. They make a second crop and they export it. So we'll see what those export crops are going to be looking like. And then seeing what our crops look like and see if that hurts our prices or helps our prices or whatever it may be. So, but anyway, it's kind of where we are right now. And we'll kind of see what CPI and PPI do to this market. See if it'll boost it up with hopefully CPI and PPI slowing down. That will boost the market, but if it spikes back up, that'll push the market back down a little bit. So we'll keep our eyes on that. And then on Thursday, we'll come back and see where we're at. So if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, we'll be back on Thursday. All righty. I don't see any questions coming in. So thank you all for tuning in. Good seeing you all again. And we'll see you Thursday and see where we're on the CPI and the PPI.